Hey guys, Jessica Ruffin and Letarte here from NASCAR Fantasy Fastlane. We were at the fastest track on the circuit last week, Steve, at Michigan, and this week we're heading to Bristol, the world's fastest half mile. So, looking at the big three, we saw Kevin Harvick get the win at Michigan. What are you thinking for this weekend?
The answer is simple. When it comes to Bristol, the answer is Kyle Busch. The 7-time Cup winner is dominant at this racetrack. Kevin Harvick, if I had starts left, he would be in my lineup as well. Martin Truex Jr., surprisingly, I'm going to avoid. I don't think he is going to be suited perfectly for that half-mile racetrack. But Kyle Busch, think about this. He's the only one to ever win a truck race, an Xfinity race, and a Cup race in a weekend. He's done it twice, and twice at Bristol. So that's the guy you have to have in your lineup. He's an absolute must-start.
So looking at some of the other drivers, there's several guys that are on the playoff bubble. You've got Ricky Stenhouse Jr., you've got Daniel Suarez, people like that, and some of them do run well at Bristol. So what are you looking at for those guys this weekend?
Well, I think to understand where I stand on the bubble, first we have to look at where they're at points-wise. You have Alex Bowman 62 ahead, you have Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 62 behind, and those are the two drivers I'm going to focus on. When I think of Alex Bowman, I think of a team that is really in a pressure situation, which I perhaps like. They're not going to take big gambles. They're going to be somewhat conservative, but he should hopefully score 20 or 25 points, which may be just what you need out of that fifth guy in your lineup. When it comes to Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the first driver outside the cut line at 62 behind, his best track based on average finish, he's just outside the top 10 normally on average finish, so think about this. It may be home run, it may be bust, but if you need a big move in your fantasy league, I think he could be the guy you need to have in your lineup if you're looking to make a big move in your league.
Well, let's get a few more of your picks in with Hot Lap of Letarte, and we will start with Kyle Larson.
Well, Kyle Larson is hands down a must-start at Bristol. He said just last week that is his favorite racetrack that the Cup cars run on, and the stats back it up. He has 3 straight top 9 finishes at Bristol, runner-up in April, and he led over 200 laps in 2 of the last 3 Bristol races. That's what I'm looking for. Fast guy that can lead laps, stay out of trouble.
Denny Hamlin.
I'm having a little bit of a love-hate with Denny Hamlin. The pole sitter last week I thought was going to run great at Michigan. He didn't, but when you look at his numbers at Bristol, I think he has to be in your lineup again. He finished top 10 in 4 of the last 6 Bristol races, including 3 third-place finishes, thirds all in summer races. That's what we're heading to this week.
Kurt Busch.
When I think of Kurt Busch in Bristol, I think, well, you have to have him in your lineup. I still picture him driving that 97 Sharpie car to the win back at Bristol. This guy has 5 Bristol wins, but the last one came back in 2006. So for that reason, I'm avoiding Kurt Busch. He's been 22nd or worse in 3 of the last 4 Bristol races. Whatever the magic was, the new Bristol has taken the magic away.
Erik Jones.
Erik Jones, even though the mullet's gone, I'm going to consider Erik Jones. He's going to be in my garage, much like his protege Kyle Busch. He seems to be very comfortable at the world's fastest half mile. He won the pole and led 260 laps in last year's summer race. If he can continue the sort of momentum we've seen this summer, maybe he could get his 2nd ever Cup win.
Let's talk strategy a little bit at Bristol, because you mentioned the spring race at Bristol. The last time we were there, it was springtime and it was also during the day. This time we're going to be there at night. What sort of strategy plays do you envision? How do you think it's going to be different?
Well, one thing that sets a night race apart, I think no one said it better than Dale Earnhardt Sr. He said something about the attitudes change when the sun goes down, and that is Bristol. You talk about a fiery half-mile racetrack where tempers flare, and it's going to be a moving target. It's going to start around the bottom. They'll have that sticky PJ1 stuff that the guys are going to work in, so you're going to look for a driver who can adapt.
Well, which driver do you think is going to get it done this weekend?
Well, I'm going to triple down. I've said it in the first, Kyle Busch, the second, Kyle Busch, so hands down, it's Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch strikes back. Kevin Harvick won at Michigan. Well, if the big 3 is going to continue to be the big 3, they're going to have to strike back. It's Kyle Busch's turn. He's going to go to victory lane at the world's fastest half mile.
Let's see if Kyle Busch can get it done this weekend at Bristol. Be sure you guys set your lineups, tweet Steve and I with questions. Our handles are below, and tune into the race Saturday